Yo, yo, yo.
What's
How,
going on, buddy?
how you doing, brother? Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, likewise. Happy Thanksgiving Eve. Is that a thing? Can we say that's a thing? Can we make that a thing?
Did you used to go out like the night before Thanksgiving with all your friends?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was a Thanksgiving Eve is a big night in the bars in New York around me for sure. For sure, for sure. How about you?
Yeah, too many years. Did you, when did you stop? Like every once in a while I get pulled back out, but I don't want to go to the bars. It'll be more like somebody's house or something like that. But when did you stop or have you stopped?
I mean, it's been a while since I've been out on Thanksgiving Eve. I mean, I tonight, I mean this year we're actually because my sister and my brother-in-law are in town visiting for Thanksgiving this year. They're in town, like they got in town yesterday. We weren't able to see them yesterday, so they're in town, today, tomorrow, Friday, and then they leave again on Saturday. So we're basically doing dinner at my parents' house tonight, dinner at my parents' house tomorrow afternoon, day at my parents' house for Thanksgiving, and then dinner out with my parents and my sister and brother-in-law on Friday. So like it's family meals all week or for the rest of the week, I guess. So I don't really have the opportunity, but I think all of my friends who I used to maybe overindulge with on Thanksgiving Eve have kind of like we've all kind of spread out a little bit, and people have moved away, and with families and obligations, it's become less of a thing. It's been a few years for sure.
Yeah, I hear that, man. John Jay, man, thanks for being here. I'm looking at Tom, and he's got his Creative Con shirt on, and I hear you are, which we'd be thrilled if this is the case. I am hearing you're coming to Creative Con.
I am. I am. Talk to Julie about it, and hopefully, you'll be involved in two pillars: podcasting and marketing slash promotion. So, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, excellent. And today we're going to talk. We're going to talk tips, questions, and Thanksgiving sides. This is not the smartest guys in the room. We're going to try to get more organized here once in a while, John. We're thinking it's time for me and Tom to grow
To
up
put
a
on your
little bit.
big boy pants. Look, I think you guys are doing fine.
Yeah, we sometimes we realize like our buddy 7272, he'll be like, you need to do this, you need to do that, and we've done none of it. So we almost feel like we've done, like, you want people to hear it, but also we come and have this community and don't worry much about who shows up and things like that. It's never been our thing. But on the other hand, maybe we should do a little more, like the basics of what we're telling other people to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think to your point, Dom, obviously, I genuinely don't disagree with you. I think the place where I would say is like I don't want to start caring about who shows up. I want to care about maintaining and growing the community, but I don't want to care about like hitting numbers. I don't want to care about metrics so much, like because I feel like that's a slippery slope, and a lot of people get really caught up in caring more about numbers than people. And that's sort of like one of the things that I'm constantly railing against in the world of marketing and content development is like, and my whole thing, right? Humanize the world of business. Like, think of people like people, treat people like people, right? Don't think of them as numbers. And I definitely don't want to get caught up. I'm right there with you. I don't want to get caught up in the metrics. I never kind of want to be.
Can't you do both at the same time, Tom?
I think you can pay. So fair point, John. Fair point. I think you can pay attention to the metrics, right? I think that there's value in that, in paying attention to, but like I don't want the metrics to ever supersede the individuals or the people in the community. And I think
Yeah,
that's
and I agree with you 100% on that. But all I'm just saying is, look, it's easy to say, and I'm not knocking you. It's easy to say I want to focus on people, which is not measurable. for people who are building a business, there's got to be some measurability to say what is working for me, what is not. And unfortunately, people are numbers. And if we don't get the numbers, that means no one's consuming our content and you're not making impact. That's just the reality. So I got to always work on a happy medium for both.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. I think, like, to me, I'm always more interested in quality over quantity. So, like, I'm less interested in, and I think this is where, and I think we'll agree on this. Like, this is where I kind of see the idea of, like, putting people ahead of numbers is, like, I'm always more interested in having, like, for example, you, John, right? Like, you are here every week with us at Not the Smartest Guys, right? Every week you're here with us. Every week Julie is here with us. Like, there is a core group of individuals that are here with us every week, and you guys are far more important to me. I'd rather have a core group of really involved, interested, engaged people than twice as many people who just kind of flit in and out and don't really contribute anything, rather than having bigger numbers. If that, you understand what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather have people like yourself here than 20 people who aren't very engaged or aren't really contributing much to the community. So I think there's, like, it's tough though to find that balance. I agree. It's not an easy rope to walk. And I'm definitely, I always push more towards the the unmeasurable side of things, because that's part of the issue I deal with too, a lot with people, is in terms of, I get asked what's the ROI on video all the time. And I have to tell people, like, there is no way to measure ROI on video. It's just not a thing. Especially when you're talking about, brand building content. Like, there is no direct ROI measurement. And if somebody's telling you that they can tell you the ROI on a video that's, designed to build your brand and build community, then they're not being honest with you. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely a little bit to one side, and John, you definitely fall a little bit more towards the other side. But I do think there's a happy medium for sure. I couldn't agree more.
So
Yep, for sure.
let me, John, I want to ask you this question. So 2 people I was working with this week, I told them, do me a favor. Like, they were just starting out. And I said, don't look at the likes for 6 months. One was changing careers and the other one was just starting out. Don't look at the likes for 6 months. And they're like, what do you think about, like, John, you help people start podcasts. When they don't, is there a number, like, what number is good enough when they first start out? Because if it's 1, if it's 5, if it's 10 views, well, how do you coach them to not be down on those kind of numbers?
Well,
Day
the first
one.
thing I do, if someone's new, what
Yeah.
I tell them is really don't go knee deep into your analytics at all for the first quarter. You can do a quick look and see, make sure you're progressing, make sure your downloads are increasing percentage wise, whatever it might be. But nothing really changes for one quarter. What I do tell people is do not rely solely on your podcast. Develop other platforms, your website, email newsletters, social media, different social media platforms with the end goal in mind. And keep in mind, all this takes work. It takes a lot of work. And the easy button that people say doesn't exist, there is one. It's called advertising, paid advertising. But even with that, you've got to have the revenue where you can do it. Number one. Number two, you have to pay attention to the analytics. Is it working for you? Is it getting you to your goals? So, having said that, what I tell people, long and short, is don't spend a lot of time for your first 3 months looking at the numbers, and then don't make. And this is something I fell trapped to. Is don't make 15 changes all at one time, because you won't know what's working and what's not working. Do one thing at a time if you want to increase your numbers. Other than that, and remember, numbers for me, it's about people. It's about people consuming and engaging my content, following me on Facebook, wherever it might be. So yeah, I've got to focus on that to some degree, but I've always got to focus on the content of what I'm putting out first and foremost.
Right on, brother. All right, not the smartest guys in the room. We do this every Wednesday. We are talking. We want tips, we want questions, and we want to know your favorite side on Thanksgiving. And I will tell you something. If you've ever watched a live stream, I'm looking at Tom here on the live stream, and he may have told us that he eats the same thing all the time, but like I swear, a couple weeks ago, like sometimes I'll screenshot the what's going on and like use it for like a post. I think he's eating the same exact thing that he was eating another day, and he looks exactly like it. So before I get to sides, Tom, do you eat the same thing all the time?
No, I don't. So there is some, I mix things up a little bit. I think the thing I was eating that time and you were not enthusiastic about the combination, but it was cinnamon raisin bread toast with cottage cheese on it and salt and pepper on top of that. And I'm telling you, I think it's delicious. Maybe it's not everybody's cup of tea. I also like cottage cheese. Also, cottage cheese is a really good source of like lean protein, and I'm trying to get more protein into my diet because that's one place where like nutritionally I tend to fall short a little bit. So it's not always the same thing. Usually there's a piece of fruit, also like a banana or an apple. I don't have one of those in front of me today. But the one constant I think is on most calls that we're on together, like whether whether we're on a Zoom call or we're on this live stream for Not the Smartest Guys in the Room, most of the time that we're on video together, I'm eating. I think that is consistent, and it's, I have to eat, like I eat all the time. It's like sometimes it gets annoying because I'm like, I have to remind myself, like I may not be particularly hungry, but I have to remind myself, like, no, you got to eat something. Like you have to have a snack in the afternoon. You can't just go from lunch to dinner without eating anything else. Like you have to have a snack. You have to kind of hit these targets in terms of like how much I'm taking in because of how much I exercise, because I'm an absolute lunatic. So, not always the same thing, but consistently, I think every time we're on video together, I'm eating something.
All right, I'm noticing it. Okay, let's go. Not smartest guys in the room. Julie, Dragon, Billy, Leslie. Oh, we missed Squared. Just right there as I said his name, he leaves. Julie, we want a media tip, a publishing tip, or a question, and your favorite Thanksgiving side. So what do you got for us?
I'm going to start with cranberry sauce, like homemade cranberry sauce. That's my favorite for sure. Thanks.
How do you homemade a cranberry sauce?
You get cranberries, you boil it in water and throw sugar in there, and it's delish.
So you don't go out of the can with. Go on.
I make the cranberry sauce every year at Thanksgiving, but I do things a couple of things differently. So I do
Don't
like
put orange in there. Oh,
yeah.
You did put the orange in there.
So I put orange in, but I don't use water. I use orange juice instead of water, and then put orange zest in there, some cinnamon, some nutmeg, and then I use maple syrup instead of sugar, just for the added flavor. Mm-hmm. So you get this cranberry, orange, maple thing, and it's freaking delicious. I can't believe, Dom, you never had homemade. I mean, look, I like.
How can you not?
I like the stuff in a can too. Like I'm not gonna knock it because I do actually really like the stuff in a can. Like it's got the ridges on it when it comes out of the can. Like I like that.
So nasty.
No, I like it. It's got its place. But the homemade stuff is also really good. And if you have extra, it's really good on toast too. It's a really good
with your cottage cheese. I bet it's good with cottage cheese. Actually,
it might be. I don't think I've done that before. I might have to do that this year.
Yeah, I think it'll be good.
Julie, okay, now go on.
By the way,
Dom
Dom always looks handsome, but Tom is looking extra handsome today on the live video. So I'm just going to put that teaser out.
He has a Creative Con shirt on, and you are right, Julie. Hey, would you put that up in our top, the link if you can, Julie?
Okay, I'm going to try to figure it out.
Our masterclass. So Dragon, first we want a tip from you, a media tip.
I didn't get to give a tip yet.
No, that's because you're busy. I'm coming back to you. I'm going all. Yeah, you snooze, you lose. Dragon, tip, and favorite Thanksgiving side.
So a tip Regarding what?
All things media, the simplest tip.
Okay.
Whatever we each media publishing to be like Dragon. What do you think? Anything
To
man.
be like Dragon. My first tip is don't try to be like Dragon. It's fucking complicated. So I think what is most relevant that I think a lot of people miss with, media, but also their whole branding reach out strategy is now is a time to really practice thinking about the frame and energy of all of your relationships with people. Like you might be working towards some candidates you're interested in or fishing in the pond of your interest. But today and tomorrow, I just always recommend flip a switch and put these people you're talking to, even your following, into a different place. Obviously gratitude and things like that, but just learn how to step away from even the energy of what you're looking for, and just provide people over the next couple of days with some content and some, make more deposits than withdrawals over the next couple of days, and kind of neutralize the potentiality that people only look at you as somebody that is like looking for business and stuff. So that's my tip, is just to recognize where people are at right now and just be thankful, and hook people up with some gifts per se and then, I think that'll help you on the other side of it, gain some trust, which is always a nice way of moving towards something else. With regards to Thanksgiving, I am the wrong person to ask because I am a week and a half out from going on my jungle retreat, and I'm on this fucking diet. If I told you what I'm going to do for Thanksgiving, you would all be like, "Oh, come on, man, you're such a loser." So
Our diet.
I'm just going to refrain from it because my Thanksgiving is just going to be about family. So I would say my favorite side, Dom, is my daughter sitting next to me.
What an answer.
That's so good.
What an answer.
Wow. He wins.
He did it. Tom, what do you want to add there? Go on.
I was just going to say, it seems to me like what Dragon was talking about there in terms of, giving, right? And maybe making more deposits than withdrawals sounded a lot to me like leading with value. Just going to throw that out there. Kind of feel like Dragon, you and I are on the same page with that. That's something I say in here all the time, and is actually like the core principle of my book Legendeering, is to lead with value. So I appreciate that. Really resonated with me. Thanks.
Yeah, well, Tom, you and I are just dancing closer and closer to becoming friends. So it's going to happen some point. We're on the same plane, bro.
There you go.
You can only be friends with Tom. Like Billy, Leslie, John? You feel left out? He's like, me and Tom are on this path. What about the rest?
Tom, are you getting jealous?
By the way, in a different place, cinnamon raisin toast and cottage cheese. I don't know about the salt and pepper, but I'm all about that. I love that. I love that idea of those two flavors of sweet, and I'm French, so anything cheese is good, but we consume quite a bit of cottage cheese. So as we say, put that shit on everybody, on everything.
Oh yeah. And I'm telling you, well, salt's a flavor enhancer, right? So if you like the flavor of cottage cheese, a little bit of salt is going to help anyway. But then the black pepper actually works really well with sweets, like better with sweet stuff than a lot of people think. Black pepper works on desserts. It works on pie. Like a little bit of black pepper on like a slice of apple pie is actually really delicious. So like I'm talking a little bit. I'm not saying like pepper steak, like coat it in cracked peppercorns. I'm trying just a little crack of black pepper. I'm telling you, it's tasty.
Well, you know what? I'll share with you guys just quickly my specialty for Thanksgiving. I'm not going to be eating it. I'm making it for everyone else. So I'm going to be a feeder tomorrow. So I make what you guys probably call twice baked potatoes. But real quickly, what I do is I take big potatoes, like the big ones, the nice ones. And I get them just soft enough, by baking them in the oven, which takes time because they're so big. And then I have them all nice and half. So I have like full potato skins, scoop out all the potatoes, put it in a pot. And in that pot, I put all the goods. I put butter, a little bit of cream, a little bit of white cheddar cheese, bacon bits, scallions, onions, all of that. Mix it all up and then refill the potatoes and then bake those suckers in the oven with melted cheese on top. So tomorrow I'll just be watching that. Now that is awesome. It's an awesome side, but even better the next day. So I think that's another thing you guys got to discuss is the things that will be better the next day.
That's a good one, man. That'd be a whole day room. Go on, Tom.
I'm there with you. I was just going to share fun little facts since we're talking about Thanksgiving stuff, and I'm full of random bits of information. But fun fact: all cheddar cheese starts out as white cheddar cheese, right? The yellow in cheddar cheese is actually added, and typically that coloring comes from an extract made from the annatto seed. So there's your fun fact for the day. All cheddar cheese is white unless it's colored to be yellow, and they usually get that coloring from the annatto seed. There you go.
Well, that's quite depressing. I spent a lot of time in Wisconsin, and I was in insurance, and I worked for this company that was for about, I don't know, what they worked, 10 years. I don't remember what it was, but they'd fly you up to Wisconsin for like 3 weeks at a time, 2 weeks at a time, about once a year. And we would just eat so much cheese, and the cheese curds in Wisconsin, they were always white. And man, a real cheese curd is the stuff. I wish we could have them at Thanksgiving. All right, we're moving along here. Julie, you got a tip for us, and then we're coming to you, back to you, John, for your favorite Thanksgiving thing. Then we're coming to you, Billy, for tips and Thanksgiving sides, and then Leslie. So, Julie, tip. What do you got?
Oh, my tip. Well, I wanted to kind of go back to what Tom and John were talking about in terms of analytics. And I get what Tom is saying. I think he's talking about quality over quantity. You want quality people. So if there are 7 people in this room right now, these are quality people. But analytics and numbers, they mean a lot to me just because I understand who is engaging. And I'm even talking about our websites. I want to know where they're coming from, who they are, what their behaviors are. And I think that is like so super important to know. I don't think if we're just talking social media, okay, if you get 5 likes, that doesn't mean it's here nor there, but you have to understand your analytics. You have to understand, those words that you're using are working and doing that research. So I just wanted to add to that conversation. And Dom is on the phone, so let's go. And hi, Billy and Leslie, too.
Go ahead, Dom. You there? Is the phone?
Oh, I am here. Yeah. I want to say, 7-2 mentioned it yesterday. I think now when you get a call, if they're leaving a message, while they're leaving a message, it disconnects you. It leaves you on because I did not answer a call, but it says I'm on a call, and now I see voicemail right over there. Wonder what they want. Interesting. Okay. So
Glad you listened to my tip, Dom. Just
well,
kidding.
I was until nonsense was coming in. I wasn't.
Hey, by the way, Creative Con people, I will tell you that I submitted my chapter for the book yesterday, as I promised. But I was just thinking of a cool idea just to throw out because you guys are all here. Wouldn't it be cool if, as an added bonus, Tom, value, anybody that buys the book, wouldn't it be cool if they gained access to an asset of like some sort of a cool, valuable giveaway from each contributor? And then also by buying the book, it gives them access potentially to a mastermind about the book or something like that. So just thinking of it added value to anybody that purchases that book. Because when I was writing it, I was thinking, oh, it'd be really cool if the readers, if I could give them an asset that would support this 1,000 word thing that I wrote. And then I was just thinking, why don't we consider like having like something really, really cool that the readers would get as a bonus?
Not a bad idea. We could QR code all kinds of stuff in there. I love QR codes in books now. I got people making videos and throwing QR codes, and so I know that's a different thought process. All right, Billy, give us a tip. Tell us about your favorite. I sound like a turkey. Favorite Thanksgiving side. I was at a place yesterday, and a chicken was chasing me. It was like 2 days ago, and it was the weirdest looking chicken. It like cornered me at some house, and it was like an albino chicken, and I couldn't tell if it was a turkey or a chicken. Just a FYI. So, Billy, go on, man. I need a Thanksgiving side and a general media tip how to be thriving success. Go on.
Hey, what's up, man? Outside, I'm so basic. I'm like mac and cheese, mashed potatoes. Like I'm a purist when it comes to that. So, however, I won't be eating it because I haven't been eating a ton of carbs, so I won't be eating any of that stuff. But it does. That good Southern cooking has a place in my heart that it will just be memories moving forward. But for as far as a tip, I would just say consistent application of elementary things. And I say this quite often when people ask me, like, how do you make all that content? I just show up and do it. I just consistently find a system that works for me and just keep applying the thing that's working and consistently do the little things. And I think sometimes as content creators, we're looking for that big viral moment, but if you show up and do the little things, it is all compound interest. So, like, especially in my business model, I'll make the more content I put out, the more money I make. And so I'm just building stuff I did a year ago is now paying me dividends this year, especially in that shoppable content, world. So yeah, it's show up and do the small things, put in the reps. And then if I'm starting a podcast, I'll tell people this: create the content of the people you want to listen to the show. I can't tell you how many times I hear podcasters go, I'm just going to make something and then my audience will find me. That's stupid. Like, I don't know any producer on the planet that's like, you know what, let's just make this TV show and hope somebody watches it. They go find the audience that's going to enjoy content like that, and they create content for that audience. So do backwards engineer the thing, and you'll be way more successful, way quicker. And you won't be going, why do I have 5 likes? You'll be going, what sponsor am I calling today?
Billy, love your vibe, man. I love a Billy vibe. I love a Billy drop in. We don't get, you don't always get Billy, but when you do, man, it is Jim. So, Billy, by the way, I was watching one of your videos the other day where you were doing everything in fast forward. He had like 1,000 products at one time, and it was like, you know which video I'm talking about, Billy? It was like you showed them all in a minute, and it was like, and they like it was. How many products did you do?
Oh, well, dude, that was probably just a week of products, but I've done in the last year and a half, I've done 2,250 product videos. So I've been busy. But speaking of efficiency, I've done all that within the 25 to 30 hour span each week. So it's just about having that system and modifying it and tweaking. I mean, I tweak everything down to where my keyboard is on my desk to make sure I can move faster because I'm playing a velocity game. I'm playing a frequency model. So it's important that I go fast and be consistent. So yeah, but yeah, that was probably like a week's worth of videos. And what I did to shoot that is when you look at your gallery on a Mac, you can just like swipe through them by holding your arrow key. So I just screen recorded and then cropped that out. So that's all it was I was screen recording just the files that I was getting ready to move to my Dropbox folder. So it's just a little whatever thumbnail it created. But yeah, it was kind of fun because I was thinking, how can I show off all this product clips and not have to edit any video? And that's just a quick way I figured it out.
Love it, man. It was cool, creative. I was down, so keep up the good work. Another thing about Billy, he's able to pivot what he's doing, and then but keep it not far off from the overall message. Would you say, just going back, Billy, because you were doing more podcasting before, you had the, I don't know if you still have the fishing show and stuff like that, but was a video element to it, and then you were able to shift to this that you enjoy and seem to be doing well at it.
Yeah, man, it's all in that content creation space. It's just a different industry within that industry. So,
Yeah.
but if it wasn't for podcasting and live streaming, I would have never been introduced to Amazon and live selling and shoppable content. So, it's fun, man. And I think that's the thing too, is like keep your antennas up, and you'll kind of feel like life will kind of present stuff that you didn't know existed that you really, really enjoy. And so I didn't just quit podcasting. I actually did this new business for 3 months. Was like, okay, this is viable. Like, this is pretty cool. And then I did it for 3 more months. And then at that time, I was like, hey, podcast partner, I split all this revenue with you. I'm looking to you to have keep all your revenue. I'm gonna keep all mine. We're gonna go separate ways. You're gonna pay me an exit rate, and we're done. And it was just the best for both of us. So, yeah, it's not every project has to be forever, and I think that's what a lot of content creators got to understand, and business owners is like, dude, we don't live 50 years ago. Like, you don't have to work for the same company for 50 years. You don't have to run the same business for 50 years. And get in there, do what you got to do, have fun if you enjoy it, and that's what I'm doing. So, and I'm looking for another, not a pivot in 2024, but through this game of live selling and affiliate marketing and all that, I've discovered another industry where there's a little bit more meat on the bone financially, and I'm looking for sources to in 2024 to build a team around that and create a whole nother business. So it'll just keep leading into one thing, especially if you're an entrepreneur. But maybe I just got a mental problem. I don't know. But I'm having fun either way.
All right. Thanks, brother. Not the smartest guys in the room. Okay, we're keeping it rolling. Leslie, we need a tip from you and then a favorite Thanksgiving side. Tip or question, because you got a lot of experts here. So if you just feel like asking John or Dragon or Billy or Julie a question,
Sure.
or whoever, go on, do your thing.
Yeah. So just quickly, this is a picture I just changed of my profile. It's me eventing. I'm a crazy woman eventing, which is dressage, show jumping, and cross country with my horse at Fair Hill International.
I was going to ask if that was you. Do you get scared? How many jumps do you have to take before you don't get scared when your horse goes off the ground?
When you know your horse well enough, they are your partner in life, and they will do anything you tell them to do. So it's pretty powerful and amazing, just galloping through fields and going over jumps and ditches. And it takes somebody that really is somewhat fearless and has that Mario Andretti in them. So that is totally me. And none of my sons have ever seen me compete because you have to be so focused and you have to be so physically fit. And so does your horse. You have to condition the horse. So, yeah, that's a whole other story if you ever want to talk about it. But, yeah, I wanted to give everybody a quick share with my podcast. So what I do is I took the leap of faith and I used AI in my latest episode. I also, the people that I use their products locally, I'm really a huge contributor and really I stand behind promoting and helping small businesses. So the products I use, living a clean lifestyle, like the coffee's organic, I have them on my show. We cross promote. I have them, I promote, if you check out my Instagram, I'm actually standing in my living room showing people where I do my podcast. And then I tell them what the latest episode is. I tag the people that are in it, the owners of the company, of this organic company and sustainable company that I have been drinking their coffee for 8 years. And so locally, it spikes. I would get like 20 hits, then 700 hits, then 648 people listening. So I'm just trying to find what is making me tick. And I think what you just said, Billy, is just start working with people that you resonate with. And that's exactly what I do. My lifestyle, my branding, living clean are the people that I have on my podcast. So the other thing is, and I also have 2 of these local companies that are growing. They're young entrepreneurs that we have. We're going to track it through Keep It Dirty code for several months. So I'm promoting them. I'm hashtagging. And I upload to 8 different platforms, YouTube, everything. But I sync it that I do it on every other day, or I don't upload everything all at once, because most tracking and just checking out the algorithms, even though at the end of the day, that's not really why I'm tracking, because I love the people that are on my podcast. The other thing is favorite sides, leeks and tahini. Also, fennel with salt, because it cleanses and detoxes your system. So those are my 2 really go-to simple recipes that anybody can follow. And if you guys get a chance, just check out what goes into a good quality cup of coffee. That's my latest upload today that I just put on my Keep It Dirty podcast. I'd love to get your thoughts. I put the links up at the top before I put any descriptions. So people, before they scroll all the way down, they'll get the links if they want to check out my links and the people that are on my podcast. Thanks.
Leslie, okay, good stuff. Hey, did you give us I don't think you gave us a favorite Thanksgiving side though. And as a clean liver, I'm interested on knowing what your favorite Thanksgiving side is.
Oh yeah, I did. So my favorite side, it's really easy. Leeks, saute leeks in a pan with some olive oil and or ghee, clarified butter. And then after you prepare it, you could, right before you take it out of the pan for 2 minutes, slather on some tahini sauce, which is my always go-to. It's so healthy. And on the side, I have fresh fennel, or the Italians, we call it fenouil, and that is it's like a celery, and it cleanses your blood and detoxifies. And you could put salt on it. Try it; it's delicious. It has like a licorice taste if you like licorice.
Gotcha. Go on, Tom.
I was just going to say, like, is that a family tradition Thanksgiving side? Because this is the first time I ever heard of anybody having sauteed leeks and tahini and salted fennel for Thanksgiving. Is that a tradition?
Yeah, I'm a mutt. So I'm Middle Eastern, Russian, Italian. I have a lot Polish. And on my Middle Eastern side, we like tahini. So that's why we have the leeks. And it's just to have my kids understand and know that, try to bring the tradition in to the next generation, and why we have the tahini. So, yeah.
Gotcha. I mean, tahini is delicious. Don't get me wrong. It's basically, it's if you made peanut butter out of sesame seeds, right? I mean, that's all it is. It's ground sesame seeds. So if you like sesame seeds, you'll love tahini. It's delicious. But yeah, I just wanted to, just curious, because that is definitely a first. I'd never heard of that as a Thanksgiving side.
Yeah, try it. It's really good.
All right, let's do this. Jason, what's up? Jason, this turkey looks just like the thing that was chasing me the other day, except this was an albino version of what Jason has in his picture there. 7-2, the architect. So, Jason, I tried to get in your room yesterday. Clubhouse must have been in the middle of whatever.
It was updating. It was a huge update yesterday, so it was out for a few hours.
Yeah, shady, man, shady. So give us a tip. Tell us about things. Any media tip or question. If you want to ask somebody a question, go on. But any tip, and then tell us about your favorite Thanksgiving side.
There's been a lot of tips, I guess. I don't really have a tip.
Come on, man. We'll take anyone.
I guess I'd have to think, like,
us. Go on.
When there's a lot of content creators, and you have to ask the content creator, do you consume what you make? It's a question and a tip all at once. Do you make the stuff that you like to consume? And the reason why is, if you don't have a connection with, say, like I do Stoicism, I consume Stoicism every single day, and I listen to Stoics creators all the time. I enjoy that. So when I make my content, or I make my thought process exploring whether it be a financial, family, or spiritual problem, I relate to ancients that I consume. And one thing I notice is there's a lot of content creators. I ask them, do you listen to podcasts? Do you listen? No. And I'm like, well, then how in the hell can you really make anything without knowing what anyone else does? So the only tip I have is consume what you make, because otherwise you're just a rowboat floating in an ocean when you need to be on an ocean boat. So, and you need to be able to have things on board that you can enjoy as well as because fishermen, they'll eat fish and they'll eat other food. They don't, while they're out fishing, they don't just like, oh, okay, here, I'm going to go sit out in a fishing boat, just like, and sit for days on end. No. So I guess that's my only tip is consume what you make. And then as far as sides are concerned, that's really tough for me. There's this mac and cheese one year that my girl made, and it was curry based. It was like almost like a buttered chicken mac and cheese. And I found a recipe the other day that's similar to what she makes, and I guess that's my favorite side.
First of all, curry mac and cheese sounds freaking delicious. That is definitely something I got to try. Curry flavors go really well with like fatty things, right? Like, which is why they work really well with like, heavy fatty stews, right? Which is where you find a lot of those spices. Yeah, I mean, that totally makes sense to me that like, it would work really well with mac and cheese. So that's definitely something I'm trying. Like that sounds, I don't know. I'm not making it for this Thanksgiving this year, but as an experiment, I'm definitely going to try making curried mac and cheese. No doubt. I was going to say something else though about your tip, and I wanted to go like one step kind of further with it. Not only like should the kind of content you consume inform what you make, right? I agree with you there. I consume a lot of content that's similar to the kind of stuff that I do, right? So like every Wednesday I'm here with Dom. We do Not the Smartest Guys in the Room. It's a bit of a free-ranging conversation. It gets a little bit weird, a little bit wacky, a little idiosyncratic, right? Which is probably largely due to my nuttiness and the way my brain works. But I consume content like that too. I like listening to podcasts and longer form content where the conversations are a little bit free ranging, where you kind of never know 100% exactly where you're going to end up, where the interviews are a little bit less structured and it's more conversational than, question to answer. So I definitely do. And then also on the other side of things, when it comes to like shorter form content, I consume a lot of content around nutrition, athletics, and sort of some inspiration and frameworks and ways of thinking, right? Kind of more philosophical and psychological stuff. And that's the kind of stuff I make. Like if you look at my reels, if you look at my shorter form content, my vlogs, it's all kind of focused around those things. And I do consume that. The place I would go a little bit further is I would say, now I don't sit down and watch back every episode of Not the Smartest Guys in the Room because I just genuinely don't have time. It's like, we're on here for like an hour and a half a week. And I don't have time to do that. But for all of my shorter form content, I always watch it back in full before I ever upload it. And I do that for a couple of reasons. One, not necessarily because I'm going to do a ton of editing, because I don't do a lot of editing to it. To that content, but because I want to listen to what I said, and allowing, taking that time to watch it allows me to also improve over time, right? And I think that's one place where a lot of people miss is they'll like record something, throw it online without watching it back or listening to it. If you're going to do written content, I would suggest reading it out loud to yourself or to someone else, like literally speaking the words. Don't read it in your head, read it out loud, make your mouth say the words, right? And the reason I think that's incredibly important to do is because it really gives you a chance to focus on and to identify places you can improve. And if you're doing written content, when you read it out loud, you'll automatically catch places where tense is wrong, places where you're missing punctuation, places where you need to start a new sentence, or you realize you've kind of shifted off of the topic and you need to get back on track, right? It'll help you identify places you've gone wrong, and listening to yourself will help you do the same so that the next video you make is just that little tiny bit better than the first one you made. And I guarantee if you go back, back into history, like we were talking about yesterday, just uploading kind of this library of content that we have from Not the Smartest Guys in the Room, because we've been doing this for a while. We've got probably 100 episodes of this, right? If you went back to the very beginning, I guarantee you would hear a marked difference in how clearly either Dom or myself could put together a thought and articulate it in the context of this platform. Between then and now, there would be a marked difference. And it's just practice. It's reps, like Billy was talking about, right? So part of doing those reps is like, if you're in the gym, it's analyzing your form, right? There's a reason why gyms have mirrors all over the place. It's so you can see your body position as you're doing the exercise and adjust accordingly. That's exactly what you're doing. If you watch your content back, if you listen to your content back, make sure you do that, right? Make sure you work consistently, always work on trying to improve your form. It's super worth it.
Wait, Tom. You mean that those mirrors are not for selfies, for selfie checks? Because that's what I see in the gym.
It's not the original intention, I don't believe. It might be what they're used for now, but it's not why they started putting them up there, because those mirrors definitely predate selfies. I promise you that. If you watch old bodybuilding documentaries, right? If you look at, or if you watch the series Arnold Schwarzenegger series that's on Netflix now, which is fantastic, highly recommend, really interesting series that gives you a kind of a peek into who he is as a person. But they have old footage of him, working out in California in gyms in like the 70s. And guess what? Mirrors everywhere. And nobody was taking selfies back in those days. So it's definitely important to continue to work on your form and improve. Everybody, no matter how long you've been doing it, can always improve. So don't lose sight of that.
Good stuff. Hey, I want to just jump in on as a publisher, nothing's more frustrating when people don't read books, like you want to write a book and you don't have a basic idea of structure of book or books in genre, other things that are successful. So I'm all, besides for being a consumer of inspirational, motivational content, I'm always buying books to see, why did people like Green Lights from Matthew McConaughey so much? I'm hearing so much about it. Why? And then I'll read it and say, oh, I get it. Matthew McConaughey tells some wild ass stories. He's silly, he's crazy, he's motivational, and some of his stories are completely nuts. Okay, get it. Okay, next. Okay, what's going on with the Atomic Habits? Atomic Habits, I understand. Okay, then move on. All right, so then practice. I just wrote an article for Newsbreak. Thanks, John Jay, for getting me on it. But I was thinking about this practice. I'm consumed by practicing message right now. I just wish everybody, if I mess up, I want to watch again. I want to see, oh, look at this. Like I could watch a speech and see, I moved my hands too much. That's bad. I could watch and say, I said like so, or right, like some people say right. I'm pointing at Tom. So you look at all these things, but here's a few that I've spoken. I have a list here, so I'm going to read it right off this list. Home shows, fairs, breakfast clubs, networking groups, retiree gatherings, men's groups, women's groups, podcast, of course, conventions, yep, social audio platforms, here we are, grade schools, yeah, those were fun, scout meetings, you got to keep those scouts in line because once you give them too much freedom, they take over. Businesses, nonprofit events, athletic teams, summer camps, basketball camps in the summer, YMCA events, outreach programs, colleges, radio, did ESPN radio in Detroit. I did Fox News in Alaska, something like that, Rush Hour in Atlanta, Chicago, Malaysia, television, a commencement speech one time, and even a wedding. But I wrote all those down, but it's all practice. And I don't consider myself good or any means. Like I'm just on the route trying to get better. But you have to practice that message. How could you, all these people want to get paid to speak and they can't do 30 seconds. They can't do 30 seconds on Clubhouse. They can't do a minute in front of the camera that's turned around and they think somebody's going to pay them $20,000 to do 2 hours. It's not going to happen unless you practice and get better. So I'm all in on the practice thing. So practice. I probably make people mad because I'm like, practice, message, do it, get out and do it. These 50, go do it for free. I want you to do it for free, practice for free. Like Facebook, Twitter, like Tom's saying, writing your message. That's practice writing your message. It's 2 lines, it's 3 lines, it's 2 paragraphs. It's practice. So get out there and put in the work. Sorry. Hey, okay, so Tom, I'm going to admit, me and you had a call with Dr. Tachi yesterday, and very informative. She's a wealth of knowledge. But one thing I did for everybody that's in the room right now, I haven't told Tom yet. I didn't even put a bio on it. But Jason, you'll appreciate this because you always tell us to step up our game. I started Not the Smartest Guy in the Room Instagram page. So we were able to get that little domain or whatever it says, and there is now
What?
yeah, man. There's a thumbnail picture and a video of Tom. That's what we have for day one. No bio yet or anything like that, but we are there. Okay, so hold on here. Man, I'm looking at my screen. Dragon got moved around. We're going to Dr. Tachi, but now I'm going to jump around here real quick before we go to Dr. Tachi. John, you didn't tell us your favorite side. I didn't forget that either. I don't want you to feel
I'm
left out.
glad you remembered. By the way, the whole mac and cheese that Billy brought up and the curried mac and cheese sounds phenomenal. And I'll be corny. Spending time with my wife is a very important part of it. But it's the carbs I don't normally eat or try not to eat. It's the stuffing with the gravy and the mashed potatoes. That's what I look forward to absolutely most. And the thing I look forward to the least, sorry, Julie, cranberry sauce. I don't know how people eat that garbage.
Ouch! What a burn there!
Wow, coming out guns blazing.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Sauce.
I have an admission to make. I've never had a cranberry in my life. I've never put one in.
You're not missing a lot, Dom.
They're just tart.
Wait, what? Like you've never had a little bit of cranberry sauce on Thanksgiving, Dom? Are you what?
I see it on the table. I look at it, and I've never made the move to actually put it on my plate or in my mouth.
What are you afraid of?
Well, that's true. I don't think I have a fear. It's just
do you like jam or jelly?
Not really.
Like toast with like butter and jam on it or something? No. No. Do you put peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
Not really. I've had jelly, but I don't eat it all the time.
Well, I'm not saying you have to be like a connoisseur of jelly or jam. I'm just asking, like, do you like it? Is it like
no? I mean, it's all right. It's
occasionally. So here's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you have to love cranberry sauce, right? Like, I'm not gonna, because not everybody does. You know, we already know about your tastes in coffee. We've talked about that a bunch. So I'm not gonna try to push, but I would just say, tomorrow, when it's sitting on the table, I would just encourage you to just try a little bit, just by itself, just a little taste, just so you know, just so you have a point of reference. That's all I'm saying. That's all I would suggest.
Then tell us what you think of it, Dom. I really want to know.
Yeah, for everybody in this room, this beautiful Thanksgiving that's coming, I'm going to put some of that cranberry on and have some cranberry.
Well, and you don't, like I said, you don't have to put it on the turkey. Like you don't, I would ask, just try a little taste by itself. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. That's totally your call. Taste is subjective. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, and it's not a hot dog. So I'm not going to get all right and wrong about it. Like, you're an adult, you shouldn't put ketchup on a hot dog. Like, that kind of thing. Like, if you're over 12, ketchup is not acceptable as a condiment on your hot dog. It's not, I don't feel that strongly about it, but I think you should try it.
George Carlin used to say about being over 12, if you're over 12, you shouldn't wear your hat on backwards either. So he said,
I'm good. Mine's on.
I'm just saying.
The right way.
All right, I thought we were going to Dr. Tachi, but my order says Carrie is first. So, Carrie, we are talking, give us a media tip, a publishing tip, a video tip, or ask a question, obviously, but then give us a Thanksgiving side that you enjoy.
Hi, everyone. No cranberries here. I'm with John. I'm a twice baked Irish baked potato girl from Boston. That's my jam. Media tip.
Oh my God.
John knows he's Irish, so we had the most plain thing. I'm gonna run from the curry back. We're just very plain eaters. I'll eat the same thing every day. Anyways, media tip. If you want to become a good speaker, I'm trying to improve, I should say, all the time. I did an intro that was 40 seconds. That was an improvement, small improvement. I'm trying to get down to 30. It's a grind. You earn your podcasting stripes, you earn your speaking merits. One thing that has helped me with my writing is I make a MP3 audio file from Playhit, and I can catch different things that don't sound right or things that I've written that are grammatically wrong. And I also can find spots where I can make something a little bit funnier. So that's worked for me. Listening to the raw audio unedited of my podcast was the best thing that I ever did. It helped me get rid of my filler words and see what worked with my show. Another last tip is if you like something, if you're passionate about how that episode came out or the topic that you're talking about and think it has really great value for somebody who's in your position, with it, because when you hire different editors, they may not be as passionate about the topic as you are. So always listen to your own intuition about the content that you create. So that's it.
Thank you, Carrie. How do you listen to your intuition but not fall in love with your intuition, or should you fall in love with it?
Well, I had to learn to listen to my intuition since when I was 20, when I first started shooting covers. And you have to realize when you go back to a team at a magazine and you have a whole bunch of people who are not really qualified to pick an image fighting over different things. They fall in love with the sweatshirt, they fall in love with the styling, the idea of that person, but they're missing the mark. And so a lot of writing, a lot of podcasting, a lot of photography, it's instincts. John will tell you that about police work. Like you have a thought and you've got to listen to yourself. And it's worked really well for me in my career. I think my self-deprecation and my lack of belief in myself sometimes balances. Like, I don't think I'll ever fall in love with anything I do. I'm always trying to improve. So to answer that, I think you've just got to listen to your gut.
Okay, there we go. We got it. Listen to the gut. I was asking because sometimes we do fall in love with things that maybe it's time to cut them loose or something like that. That's where I was going. All right, not the smartest guys in the room. We will continue rolling. Dr. Tachi, we need a tip from you, and we need a favorite Thanksgiving side.
Good morning, everyone. Well, okay, so may I give like 2 quick tips if you don't mind?
Come on, you got carte blanche around here.
Oh, I like carte blanche. Okay, so the first thing is don't be a know-it-all when it comes to equipment. Like if you happen to be adept in some level of, for example, production, podcasting, whatever it is, it's good that you know what you know, but you don't have to be an idiot about it when giving other people advice. And I'll tell you an example. So I am selling one of the mics. I had one of like my first podcasting mics, the Blue Yeti, which I can't stand because it doesn't work with my voice. And so selling it on Facebook Marketplace. But of course, somebody who's either a podcaster or somebody who knows something said, "Oh, well, the best mic is actually," I'm like, "Which I didn't ask you. Nobody asked for your damn opinion." So
Did you say? Did you say which? I didn't
did.
ask you.
I did.
Okay.
I said, "Which nobody asked you,"
Okay. Gotcha.
because
Gotcha.
it's rude to, and that you could say that was rude, but I'm like, but nobody asked you. And then I said, actually, the microphone that is the best is the one that works with your voice, because my voice, that microphone doesn't like my voice at all. But for some people, it's like liquid gold. So that's the microphone that works best. So when you, first of all, nobody asked, so unsolicited advice, unless you're specifically asked about that, don't do it. And then I noticed there was a camera, like some sort of new camera, on all these little Facebook ads, etc. And it came out, and it's meant to be a consumer camera for people who are making like Instagram videos, etc. I said, "Oh, that's kind of neat." Why did I look at the comments underneath? Everybody had something to say. "Oh, well, actually, the best." Well, again, which nobody asked you. Nobody asked for that. The overwhelming majority of people that are targeted by the ad are people that don't have your level of experience. So just because you have experience doesn't mean that you have to be rude or mean about things. Nobody asked you. So when it comes to those types of things, be nice about it. If you do actually have a great recommendation, be nice about it. This looks like it could actually work, but in case you're interested, there's also another one in the same price range, just for your information. You can be nice about it without being a know-it-all. I can't stand know-it-alls. And so the second thing is something that I actually talked about in a video I did on my account. Don't be afraid of small or embrace small. A friend of mine always says sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. And I'm seeing examples of that every interaction that I see now. So if, for example, you have a platform, maybe you have a podcast, maybe you have, a video series, don't be afraid of having, quote, smaller guests on. And that's not really, I should say, less well known guests on, because that could be something that really benefits your audience. And just because they're not, a celebrity or very well known does not mean that they are not valuable to your audience. It's not about you. And honestly, we've talked about this before. When you have on a one way to get an audience is obviously to borrow an audience. But if you're always clamoring after, the big name people and the celebrities, you'll get a few people that will follow you at your platform, but the overwhelming majority came for that person. So really think about your audience that you already have and how to benefit them. So don't be afraid of the smaller person. And likewise, if you are invited to come on somebody's podcast or somebody's live stream or a platform that may be smaller, don't be afraid to embrace that. Because I said this, like, I've asked people to come on Mediascope, and most of the time it's yes, because I'm not like clamoring after huge people. But then sometimes, I don't get a response, right? Or people I clearly see you saw it, which in your Instagram, you just said nothing. So I said, okay, I said this in my message. When I do blow up, uh, believe I will not ask you to come on any of my platforms, because you showed me back then that I was unimportant and that I didn't matter. So why would you matter to me now? So you never know who that person is. Even if you've never heard of the podcast, do your research, make sure it fits within your brand, but you never know how that could help you and help that person, because remember, the goal is service with all of this. So those are my 2 tips.
I love it, and I like the fire in Dr. Tachi today. Go on, Tom.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about my food, but go on, Tom.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to ask you, because I got something I want to say about your tips, Dr. Tachi, and then I promise we'll come back for your favorite side, because I'm curious what your favorite side is. So I wanted to say, like, when you were talking about, like, the know-it-all, people who say they know best when it comes to equipment. The thing I wanted to add on to that is people who are genuinely interested in and genuinely curious about tech are the ones that are going to ask questions to try to figure out exactly what your use case is so that they can recommend the best equipment for your particular use case. So whenever you're asking somebody for recommendations on equipment, the go with the recommendation from the person that asked the question, right? If you say to somebody, what's the best camera for me to get? And they instantly have a response, be suspicious, right? If you ask somebody, what's the best microphone to get? And they instantly have a response, be suspicious of the value of that response, of the quality of that answer, right? Because they don't know your use case. And the simple truth is that it all depends on how you're using it, right? Cameras and microphones are tools, right? So right tool for the right job, right? Best tool for the job is kind of always what wins. So make sure that when you're asking those questions, the people ask you questions in return, right? The people you're asking for advice from, they ask you what your use case is, because ultimately what you want to do is you want to find the best camera for what you're using the camera for, not the best camera according to that person for what they use their camera for, right? Because their use and your use are not necessarily the same thing. So I just wanted to put that out, like, make sure that you go with the curious folks. They usually have the best recommendations in my experience.
Tom, last week on the show, you said the right tool for the job, right tool for the job. And that made so much sense to what you're saying here. Like, there are certain times, if I'm doing this, I would use a GoPro. And then there are certain times that there's no way in hell I'd use it. So I think you're right on.
100%. I mean, like right now I'm using the camera that I use for live streaming and that I use when I'm in my office, right? In this kind of setup that I have here, is a mirrorless digital camera, right? It's a Sony A7 III with a 35 millimeter lens on it. Okay. That's the right tool for this job, right? I have like a $20,000 digital cinema camera, but it's not the right tool for this job, right? This is the right tool for this job. When I go out and I do my vlogs where I'm walking down the road, right, and talking to the camera, I shoot all those with a GoPro. That's the right tool for that job, right? So right tool, right job, right? Make sure that you're at, like, whoever you're talking to for advice or you're going to for advice is they themselves are curious about the topic, right? Because the curious people are going to be the ones that dig around and try to find the best information for you. So yeah, I go to the curious people. Go where the curious people are. They're the ones that have the best, and that's true across the board, I think. Right? The people who are really curious about things tend to be the ones that have the best advice.
I accept. All right, now I was going to say more importantly, but it can't be more important than those great tips. But maybe as equally important, Dr. Tachi, the favorite side.
Jollof rice.
Okay, I think you need to tell me a little more.
Okay. So for those of you that are familiar with West African food, jollof rice really emanates from West Africa. It is originally from Senegal, and it is rice that has like a lot of things in it. So it's the Nigerian version of jollof rice has usually some sort of meat in it. It could be chicken or goat, or any beef, any type of meat. And also it's got tomato, like usually you grind fresh tomatoes with tomato paste, curry spices, onions, etc. You could do a number of different things. There's also uh, s- like a seasoning we call aiya, which is dried crayfish, so it gives it also a little bit of a seafoody flavor, but not much. And so you put all of that together, you blend all of those ingredients, and you let that boil into the rice. And so in the process of cooking, anytime you cook like tomatoes or whatever, it gets more savory and less acidic, and it boils into the rice. So it's kind of like a red rice. whoever does not have this, I feel sorry for them because it's delicious, and I realize most people won't do it. And because I'm African, Thanksgiving is not something that we always usually celebrate it. But my mother would always make like jollof rice because we were in America, so that is my favorite.
I haven't had a lot of most of the like kind of authentic African food that I've had um, is East African, not West African. And I'm thinking like Kenya and Ethiopia. So I haven't had jollof rice, but I really want to now. I really want to try it. I'm super curious about it. But I'm also like a culinary explorer at heart, right? Like I love eating all kinds of different things from all over the world. But I'm super curious about that. It sounds delicious.
Absolutely. And the next time, I know you're in the Hudson Valley, but the next time you're in the city, there are Nigerian restaurants like that all over the place. So definitely try some out.
Yeah, that's going on the list of foods I want to try for sure. What do you think, Dom?
Oh yeah, it's right up there for me. No, that did. Although I'm surprised how much love curry is getting today. Curry's. I mean, we've got like 5 different people that mentioned stuff with curry in the last hour.
There's curry and jollof rice too, just so you know.
You mentioned that. Yeah, that's what you said. I'm listening, Dr. Tachi.
I thought I didn't say it anyway.
No. All right, let's go on here. All right, not the smartest guys in the room. We're going to meet Beth in a second, but first we'll do a quick show and tell, Tom. Tom said, okay, show and tell. This is for our live streamers. This is in Pittsburgh. They call people that are like pro Pittsburgh, they call them Yinzers. So some people affectionately accept that term and love all things Pittsburgh. And then other people almost use it as a derogatory term towards Pittsburghers. I love Pittsburgh, but I don't consider myself in that brand. I know that sometimes it rains here and sometimes our teams don't win the championship. Anyway, this is a candy bar I'm holding up that my wife got me. And I think I saw a date on here. It said 2019 was the date. So anyway, when I say I'm not this Yenzer, so I took the candy bar. I thought she got it for me as like a keepsake. So I put it up on my wall behind me. And she came down like 6 months ago and said, "You still have that candy bar?" And I was like, "Yeah, she said, "I thought you were going to eat it." I said, "No, I would never eat it." I put it up on the wall. So this is my Yinzer candy bar, and that is Franco Harris on the front. The Immaculate, it says the Immaculate Confection. Okay, go on, Tom.
I was gonna ask. First of all, I think it's great that your wife was like, "No, I got it for you to eat." Like, what are you talking about? That's hilarious. Question about like the Yinzer thing. Is it because of the Pittsburgh accent?
Why they become so there is a language down there, up there, down, and certain things are said differently. But what what makes somebody a true Yinzer is everything Pittsburgh is the best ever. So there is no argument like the weather's the best, the mountains are the best, the tunnels are the best, the teams are undefeated even when they're average. And it is this loyalty to all things that I think that's what makes you a Yinzer. Like pierogies are healthy, like that's just you have to believe in that.
I mean, so like, because I was wondering, because I wasn't sure if like it was a bit of a dialectical thing, right? Like instead of use, it's yin.
Yins, yes. So
right?
yins, so you would say instead of you all, you would say yins. So that term is a dialect, and Pittsburghers say that. So then it becomes people that say yins are yinzas, but then it just keeps growing and encompassing more things like candy
Guess who?
bars. And
Guess who brought that term to Pittsburgh?
who brought it?
I'm looking at Wikipedia. They're always right, by the way. It's on the
Oh,
internet. It's right. Scottish Irish immigrants brought it to Pittsburgh. Yins.
Okay, Scotty, we do have a big community of Irish. We have a big parade.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I could see that. I mean, there are interesting like dialectical things like that. Although I think use is a like use like YOUS is like something that you hear a lot in, and I Prof T is not here today, so she can't I can't fact check this with a local, but I think that's a Philly thing. Is like use gets used a lot in Philly, and then yins gets used a lot in Pittsburgh, but it's like certain parts of like old neighborhoods in Pittsburgh that have been there for a long time is where you'll kind of pick up that sort of like local dialectical idiosyncrasy that is the use of yins, but that spawned the term yinzers, right? Is like the people who use that dialect or yinzers. But I don't know. I'm kind of Dr. Tachi said in the comment section said don't eat the candy bar. But
why not? Because does she think it's going to be bad, or does she think it's a keepsake?
I mean, I kind of want. I think because she's concerned that it'll be bad, but I kind of want you to take a taste and see what happens.
I know I've shared the story here about early on in the pandemic when I started selling some of my, just trying to get by like all of us. So I was selling some of my collectibles, and I had a Pez collection, and one of the Pez's was broke open. Like one of the, like, let's say it was Batman, and like the side was a little bit broke open. So I'm like, I really can't sell that. So I had my daughter, who was, what's this, 2020, 4 years younger. So she was about 10 years old at the time, eat one of the Pez, and the Pez was still good. So it could be done.
You never know. You never know. It probably, I mean, as long as it's not, moldy or something, you're probably all right.
Yeah, I got to think about it. No, that's too important to me. All right, I do have cereal. I showed you another. Okay, we're moving on. We got. Me and Tom are going to give our favorites. We're going to hear from Beth with a tip, and let's see if I. So Beth, we need a media tip. All things media, whether that's sharing your story, writing, how to turn your phone around and make a good video, and then your favorite side. What do you got for us?
Okay, I'm cracking up right now. I'm cooking breakfast, but listening to y'all, and I'm thinking of that movie, 40-Year-Old Virgin, as you said you were selling all your collectibles. But anyways, media-wise, I gave out a media tip this morning to some folks in a real estate room of they're trying to do videos. And I said, go to your local high school, find out who is in the media room, who is in that course, if you have one, and get those kids to come do the video for you. And believe me, if you want people to see you, those kids will share it to everybody. I mean, kids, they don't stop. It's like share, share, share. Go in, and even if you walk into a restaurant, I know it sounds a little creepy, but you walk into a local restaurant and you see the same kids in that restaurant every week, and you want to do a promotion for your area, ask those kids. They're going to hop up real quick and say, yeah, we'll do a video for you. Might be a generic video, but anyways, that's the media thing. And my sides for Thanksgiving, is that what you guys are asking for?
We want a side that every year you're like, can't wait to get this.
Oh, it's going to definitely be sweet potato casserole. And I'm the only person in my family that eats it. But I make it for myself, and it's delicious.
There you go. Sweet potato casserole. I like sweet potatoes myself. All right, Tom, we'll go back and forth here before we let you finish up. So you want to share it? You want to share a tip first?
Well, I wanted to say something to what Beth was saying about going to the high school, talking to the media, the kids in the media program there. I think that's a great idea with a couple of sort of additions to that, right? So at the end of the day, what those kids give you, right? You have to be able to direct them. You have to be clear about what you want and work with the kids to create something that'll be, sort of mutually beneficial that they'll be happy to share if you want to leverage their platform. It also depends on like, Do you want a bunch of 14-year-olds following your real estate page, or do you want other professionals or home buyers to see it, right? So it kind of depends on who your audience is and what you're going for. But I would say, like, absolutely engage those kids, get them involved, look to engage them with their passions. And then I would say, from a professional perspective, if you want to really leverage that, then be transparent about who you're working with. Talk about the fact that you're working with kids from the high school to help create these videos, right? Talk about that. Tell stories about how you're working together to benefit each other, right? Like, tell that story too. Don't just have them come film for you. Like, actually go a level deeper and talk about how you guys are working together as a community to create benefit on both sides. Again, it's that idea of value exchange, right? Which I talk about all the time. All the best relationships we have in our lives are built on an exchange of value, right? Without strings attached. So, like, you ask the kids for help, you're giving value to them, they help you, they're giving value to you, you provide that value to your community, you're giving value to them, they support your business, right? And your brand, and that's how they give value back to you. So it's all built on this exchange of value. Always look for opportunities to do that, to give more than you take, as JC was saying, to make more deposits than withdrawals, right? But I think that's a great way to do it, Beth. I think that's really good. I just wanted to add that sort of, like, that idea on top of it is, like, we'll talk about it. Like, don't just do that behind the scenes, right? Like, be transparent about what you're doing and why you're doing it. I think that could be super beneficial. I've got a couple of sides. So it depends on how I can do one, and we could go back and forth. Does that work for you, Dom?
Okay. You want the rapid fire sides? Go on.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got my two favorite sides for Thanksgiving, and then one that I make every year. It's not my favorite, but I really like it. Is the cranberry sauce that I mentioned earlier. So it's not one of my favorites, but I really like it. It turns out delicious. Everybody else really likes it. So I make that every year, and then I'll start with stuffing, right? And now, so we do stuffing. It's my grandmother's recipe, and I think it was her mother's recipe before that. And it's a sausage stuffing that my family makes, and I like it both on the day, like on Thanksgiving, with gravy on it, like on the plate with the turkey and the gravy and the stuff, right? And all the things. But then I also like it because when we always we make like a crazy amount of it, and like some is in the bird, but then we make like a whole baking dish of it on the side as well, baked. So which is technically called dressing, I guess, when it's baked outside of the turkey. But so we have this tray of dressing, and everybody gets some to take home. And my favorite thing to do with it is to take that dressing, cut it into slices, right? Fry it in a pan with some butter, and then put a fried egg with a runny yolk on top of it. And that is delicious. That's my favorite side because I like it on the day and I like the leftovers.
That's good, Tom. I'm a stuffing guy too. Mine is not as cool as yours. Tom just went at it. Hey, so my stuffing, I like it. I like it that day, and I could eat it just cold in like give me a softball, baseball of it the next couple of days. And like really, I could just walk around the house eating it like I like I'm eating an apple. That would okay. Then I'll throw one back to you. Then my other favorite that we just started having the last couple of years, cornbread casserole. So cornbread, but it has a little more, it's a little wetter and has more corn in it and more butter. And man, that's the stuff. So I am in on the cornbread casserole. So back to you, Tom.
Yeah, my mom has made that, and I'm a fan of it too. It's basically like cornbread mix, and then you use creamed corn, and so it's like it's spoonable. You can't like cut it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's more like a spoonable, sort of like, it's like cornbread pudding kind of is like kind of how you.
So Dr.
Right?
Tachi says, "Isn't that cornbread?" Dr. Tachi, this is because cornbread you can.
She said cornbread dressing, right? Isn't that cornbread dressing?
I don't know.
It's not, because cornbread dressing is the same. Like you make that the same way you make like regular stuffing or dressing, where you like cut up bread. So instead of it being like wheat bread, it's cornbread, right? But but this is like a cornbread. This is like a cornbread in terms of flavor, but it's like a corn casserole, corn pudding kind of thing. So yeah. And then the other thing, my other one, which is my favorite, is green bean casserole. But I don't make we don't make the green beans out of a can, cream of mushroom soup out of a can. We don't make that green bean casserole. I make green bean casserole from scratch. So I take fresh green beans, I blanch them, I make a mushroom cream sauce, I mix that all together with the only thing I don't make are the French fried onions, right? The crispy onions, because nobody's got time for making those at home. Frying stuff at home is always a mess. There's a ton to clean up. Not interested in it. But and also because like at the end of the day, like I am never going to improve those French fried onions, those crispy onions, right? Those things are freaking delicious. Like there's no way I'm going to make them better, right? So I don't even try. That's the one thing I do that I don't change is I use the crispy fried onions both in the mix. Like I mix some of those into the casserole, the green beans with the mushroom cream sauce, and then put the rest on top, right? And then when you bake it, they get all crispy and crunchy and delicious on top. And I make that every year, but I make it from scratch. And like it's a request. It's, you know, like it gets requested by multiple members of the family. Like you have to make that this year. So it's always a hit, but it's green bean casserole when you make it from scratch is really, really good. It is far and away better than the old traditional green bean casserole, which is also good. But this version is like, I mean, just leaps and bounds better.
That sounds pretty good, Tom. Damn. All right. So now, not the smartest guys in the room. We're just about done. I'll give you my tip, and then Tom can wrap up with his tip or leave us with a tidy bow like he often does. My tip, and I just want to elaborate on it, is practice. Practice your message. And so, like some people do, well, you're wasting time. I can't just be practicing all the time. What I am saying is write it, put it new places, tweak it a little bit, develop it a little bit more. When you come into Clubhouse and you tell who you are, say it a different way 50 times. Don't say it the same way every time. When you do a new show, add a line, add this, add that. Try with a different inflection. Try adding a story. Try doing it longer. Practice it different ways, different places, in every different media you can. So work on that message. Don't be too proud. Okay, that's all I got. Love you all. Happy Thanksgiving. And we're off to Tom. All right, Tom, bring it on.
All right, real quick, before I do some wrap up, I got a little bit of housekeeping I want to take care of first before we do the wrap up. So the housekeeping is as follows. Coming up, December 2nd, Saturday, December 2nd. The link is up at the top. It's also, you can find it on my bio, in my link tree. I'm sure Dom has it on his bio. We'll share it out everywhere. We've all been sharing content about this. Creative Con Masterclass happening on December 2nd, live on Zoom. I won't physically be there, but I'm creating some content for you guys to help inspire some stuff. Dom will be there. Julie will be there. Dragon will be there. Or no, Dragon might not be there. I don't know if Dragon's going to. No, Dragon might not be there. But a bunch of people that you guys all know are going to be there, sharing some wisdom and helping to get you guys inspired to pursue your creative dreams. Because on February 17th and 18th of 2024, we are hosting a first of its kind creative conference in the Chicagoland area at the Metropolis Performing Arts Center called Creative Con. And that's happening again, February 17th and 18th of 2024. But tickets are on sale now and early bird pricing is in effect until December 8th. So if you're in the Chicagoland area or able to get to the Chicagoland area, make sure you grab some tickets before prices go up on December 8th. We would love to see you there. I'm going to be there. Dom's going to be there. John J. Wiley's going to be there. Dragon's going to be there. Julie's going to be there. A whole bunch of people you guys know and love and respect are going to be there. And we're all going to be working towards the same goal of helping you further your creative endeavors, whatever they may be. So it's whether it's publishing, podcasting, promotions, or production, we're going to be there to help encourage you guys, inspire you guys from the main stage. And then also we'll be hosting workshops to give you practical tips and strategies for how to apply that you can apply to your work right away the minute you leave the conference. So make sure you check that out, share it around with your community, share it around with all your friends, let them know about it. It's a first of its kind. And hopefully the plan is that it's the first of many to come. Right. So CreativeCon 2024 is where we're starting on February 7th, 17th and 18th, but it is by no means where we're going to end. Right. This is just the beginning of the road. And we hope you guys will come along on the journey with us. We'd love to have you all there. So that's the housekeeping I wanted to do first. And now for my tip. I've had this quote occupying a lot of space in my brain for the last couple of days. I don't even know who to attribute this to. I think it originally came from a tweet that someone shared, and it was reshared by a friend of mine. And I've just been thinking about it nonstop for weeks now, for about a week now. And I can't get it out of my head. So I'm going to share it with all of you guys because it really dovetails nicely with the work that I do broadly, but also specifically with CreativeCon and what Dom and I do here in Not the Smartest Guys in the Room. So here it is. You can't call the arts a non-viable career path and then turn around and spend all of your free time consuming art. The arts are not just a glorified hobby. And I think everyone listening who's a creative entrepreneur or who has ever had aspirations to become a creative entrepreneur can identify with that. We've all had people in our lives when we've described to them the things we wanted to do, the projects we wanted to pursue, the passions that we wanted to turn into a living. We've all had people in our lives look at us and go, yeah, but that's not a real job, right? Right? That's not a career. I mean, that's a fun hobby. Oh, you make videos? That's a fun hobby. Oh, you want to write? Oh, that's a fun pastime, right? But it's not. It's not. The arts are not a hobby. They are not a pastime. They are a valuable, you know what? Scratch valuable. They're a necessary part of civilized society. They are a necessary part of our lives, right? The arts that we all consume, that everybody consumes in their free time, right, are a necessary part of our lives. In fact, I had a conversation with somebody the other day where they were talking about language, right? And how we're all sort of very visual thinkers because like the ability to convey information through visuals actually predates written language, right? And you think about cave paintings, right? Cave paintings predate written language. What did cave paintings do? They depict stories. They convey information. So the arts are not a hobby. They are the most fundamental means of communication that we have as human beings. And they are to be pursued relentlessly, and they are to be treasured forever. So don't ever let somebody tell you that the work you're pursuing, the dream you're pursuing, the creative endeavor that you have taken on is a hobby. It is a career. It is a path. It is a calling, and you should keep pushing forward because it is necessary. So that's all I got for today. Just wanted to wrap up there. That's just been occupying too much space in my head over the last couple of days, and I had to say something about it, or else it was just going to explode out of me. So anyway, I just want to say thank you to all of you for being here. Happy Thanksgiving. I am grateful for all of you. I am thankful for Not the Smartest Guys in the Room. I'm thankful for Dom for going on this journey with me over the last couple of years on this show. And I'm thankful for all of you for being a part of our community and for keeping us going for all this time. We appreciate you. I hope everybody has a very happy and healthy Thanksgiving. And don't forget to sign up for the masterclass on December 2nd. That's all I got for you guys. Love you guys. See you soon. See you next week. And maybe we'll get Dom to eat some of his Yinzer candy bar. You never know. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.